will be strictly monitored. International Crimes Tribunal sends former additional superintendent of police to jail over burning bodies after the murder of student protesters. BNP announces 10-day program to celebrate the historic 7th November, the Day of National Revolution and Solidarity. Debate going on centering the US presidential election campaigning. Both parties prepared to prevent violence and conspiracies at swing states. And SAF winning women's team returned to Dhaka, received floral welcome. Chief advisor will accord reception to winners on Saturday at the State Guest House, Jamuna. Assalamu alaikum. Those were glimpses from the main stories covered in tonight's news at 10. We move on now to the details. From now on, a job seeker will be able to sit for the Bangladesh Civil Service BCS examinations up to a maximum of 4 times. The decision was taken during a meeting of the Advisory Council held at Chief Advisor's office today. Chief Advisor Professor Muhammad Yunus presided over the meeting. Members of the Advisory Council were present. The meeting approved the draft agreement between the governments of Bangladesh and Gambia on visa exemption for diplomatic and official passport holders. The meeting also approved the draft agreement titled Agreement on Maritime Transport Cooperation received from BIMSTEC Secretariat. The agreement will be signed in the presence of the heads of government of the member countries at the upcoming BIMSTEC summit. Besides, the meeting approved the draft of National Parliament Secretariat Interim Special Provisions Ordinance 2024. Chief Advisor's Press Secretary Shafiqul Alam briefed journalists at the Foreign Service Academy in the evening about the decisions of the Advisory Council meeting. Deputy Press Secretary Apurbo Jahangir and Azad Mozumdar were present on the occasion. The Press Secretary said that in the meeting of the Advisory Council, the financial and administrative responsibility of the Speaker of the Parliament Secretariat has been given to the Advisor on Law, Justice and Parliamentary Affairs, Dr. Asif Nazrul. He said the Advisory Council meeting decided to keep separate administrative system in Dhaka University for 7 colleges affiliated to Dhaka University.
স্পিকারের আপনি জানেন আর্থিক এবং প্রশাসনিক কাজ ছিল। এখন যেহেতু স্পিকারের পদটি শূন্য, সেই কাজটা আসলে তার যে স্পিকারের যে সেক্রেটারিয়েট, সেখানে তার যে এই প্রশাসনিক এবং আর্থিক কাজটা কে করবেন, তো সেই ব্যাপারে একটা ডিসিশন হয়েছে যে এটা ল মিনিস্টার আসিফ নজরুল এটা দেখবেন। সরকারি গাড়ির বিষয়ে একটা ডিসিশন হয়েছে যে কতগুলো সরকারি গাড়ি আছে সেটা প্রত্যেকটা মন্ত্রণালয়কে বলে দেওয়া হচ্ছে যে তারা একটা খুব শর্টলি একটা ফরম্যাটের মাধ্যমে জানাবেন। এটার মাধ্যমে একটা আমরা সুনির্দিষ্ট একটা হিসাব পাবো যে কতগুলো গাড়ি সরকারের আছে এবং কার কয়টা গাড়ির কি অবস্থা এবং তাদের বয়স কত। মেয়েদের ফুটবল টিমকে কংগ্রেচুলেট করা হয়েছে এবং আমরা আজকে দেখেছি যে কিছু কিছু পত্রিকা বলছে যে মেয়েরা 2 মাস বেতন পাচ্ছেন না, আমাদের মেয়ে ফুটবল টিম। তো এটা আসলে সমস্যাটা সালাউদ্দিন যখন বিএফএফ এর প্রেসিডেন্ট ছিলেন সেই সময়কার একটা সমস্যা। আমরা খুব দ্রুত এই সমস্যার সমাধান চাচ্ছি, দ্রুত এটার ব্যাপারে অ্যানাউন্সমেন্ট পাবেন। অ্যাট দ্য সেম টাইম আমরা মেয়েদের এবং ছেলেদের যে বাংলাদেশকে রিপ্রেজেন্ট করে, তো তাদের যে বেতনের যে সমতা সেটা নিয়েও কথা হচ্ছে বিসিবি এবং বিএফএফ এর সাথে। 7 কলেজের ব্যাপারে স্পোর্টস এবং ইউথ অ্যাডভাইজার আসিফ মাহমুদ, এডুকেশন অ্যাডভাইজার ডক্টর ওয়াহিদুদ্দিন মাহমুদ এর সাথে এই 7 কলেজের রিপ্রেজেন্টেটিভ কথা বলেছেন। কথা বলার পর একটা ডিসিশন হয়েছে যে ঢাকা ইউনিভার্সিটির মধ্যেই ওদের একটা জায়গা ঠিক করা হবে যেখানে ওদের প্রশাসনিক কাজকর্মগুলো করা যায় এবং তাদের বিষয়টা আলাদাভাবে দেখা হবে। তাদের আলাদা রেজিস্টার থাকবে, আলাদা ডেডিকেটেড অফিসিয়াল থাকবে এবং এই পুরো জিনিসগুলো করা হবে ঢাকা ইউনিভার্সিটি আর ইউনিভার্সিটি গ্রান্ট কমিশনের সাথে কথা বলে একটা ডিসিশনে আসা হবে। মালয়েশিয়ান নিয়ে একটা ডিসিশন এসছে যে মালয়েশিয়ার টাইমটা এক্সপায়ার করার জন্য তাদেরকে আর নিয়ে যাওয়া হয়নি। 18,000 তাদের ভেরিফিকেশনের কাজটা শুরু হয়েছে এবং আমরা আশা করি যে তারা খুবই শীঘ্রই মালয়েশিয়া যেতে পারবেন।
Australia's Home Minister Tony Burke called on Chief Advisor Professor Muhammad Yunus at the State Guest House, Jamuna today. The visiting minister has told the Chief Advisor about their plan to bring its visa centre back to Dhaka and hold negotiations to prevent irregular migration between Bangladesh and Australia. Professor Muhammad Yunus thanked the minister for visiting Bangladesh at a crucial time of the country and for supporting the interim government in its efforts to carry out much-needed reforms. Professor Yunus urged the Australian minister to regularise the migrants and also increase regular migration from Bangladesh. Professor Muhammad Yunus handed over a copy of The Art of Triumph, a book on the graffiti and murals drawn on the walls of the cities and towns in the country during the mass uprising. U.S. Chargé d'Affaires Helen Lefave paid a farewell call on Chief Advisor Professor Muhammad Yunus at his Tejgaon office today. The Chief Advisor praised Lefave for her service as a top diplomat and appreciated her sincere efforts to advance Bangladesh-U.S. relations at a crucial time. The U.S. Chargé d'Affaires handed over a letter from Secretary of State Antony Blinken to Professor Yunus. During the meeting, this acting U.S. envoy told Professor Yunus that the U.S. was expediting resettlement of the Rohingyas from the Bangladesh camp to the North American nation. Their talks also covered judicial reforms, South Asian electricity connectivity, counter-terrorism, efforts to repatriate tens of billions of dollars stolen from Bangladesh during the dictatorship, reforms in civil bureaucracy, and labor issues. Helen Lefave said a number of senior U.S. officials would visit Bangladesh in the next few months in an effort to cement ties between the two friendly nations. The interim government has formed a 6-member search committee headed by Appellate Division Judge Justice Zubair Rahman Chaudhry to recommend names of the commissioners for constituting a new election commission, EC. The Cabinet Division issued a notification in this regard today. The committee will recommend 2 names for each position for the appointment of the new Chief Election Commissioner and other election commissioners, said the notification. The other members of the search committee are Justice A.K.M. Asaduzzaman of the High Court Division, Comptroller and Auditor General of Bangladesh Muhammad Nurul Islam, Chairman of Bangladesh Public Service Commission Mubashir Momin, former teacher of International Relations Department of Dhaka University Dr. Chaudhry Rafiqul Abrar, and former PSE Chairman Professor Zeenatunnesa Bahmida Begum. Cabinet Division will give secretarial support to the search committee. After super shops, polythene and polypropylene bags will be banned in all kitchen markets from November the 1st. The Department of Environment and the law enforcement agencies will conduct strict surveillance to stop the use of polythene. Additionally, there will be mobile courts at the kitchen markets. This initiative of the interim government has been welcomed by traders and consumers, but they said a sufficient supply of alternatives to polythene bags should be ensured in the market. Earlier, the use of polythene and polypropylene bags has been banned in all supermarkets on October the 1st. The interim government said that legal actions will be taken against supermarkets and traders who use polyethylene shopping bags and warned of potential actions against the manufacturers of this banned product. The International Crimes Tribunal has sent police official Shahidul Islam to jail in connection with a case filed over mass killing during anti-discrimination student movement. The 3-member bench of the tribunal, led by its chairman, Justice Muhammad Ghulam Murtaza Mazumdar, gave the order in the morning today. Chief Prosecutor of the International Crimes Tribunal, Muhammad Tajul Islam, told journalists that Shahidul Islam is accused of genocide and crimes against humanity to suppress anti-discrimination student movement in Shabar. Earlier, Shahidul Islam was produced before the International Crimes Tribunal under police protection. A 6-member expert medical team from Thailand visited the National Institute of Traumatology and Orthopedic Rehabilitation, or Pungu Hospital, in the capital yesterday to see the injured of the July mass uprising. At that time, they observed the injured closely and expressed satisfaction over arrangement of the treatment. Many of the injured of the July mass uprising have been undergoing treatment at 13 hospitals in the capital. Of them, 57 are undergoing treatment at the Pungu Hospital. In order to ensure upgraded treatment for them, the 6-member medical team visited the Pongu hospital. Director of the hospital said the medical team from Thailand visited all the 57 patients. The Thai medical team will soon give reports on every patient. The High Court today scrapped proceedings of separate cases filed against BNP chairperson Begum Khaleda Zia and the party's acting chairman Tariq Rahman. A High Court Division bench of Justice A.K.M. Asaduzzaman and Justice Syed Inayat Hussain passed the orders declaring absolute 2 separate rules issued earlier over the cases. The court scrapped a subversion case filed against Khaleda Zia with the capital's Darussalam police station, allowing the plea filed by her lawyers. Senior advocate Zainul Abidin and A.M. Mahbubuddin Khokon, Barrister Nasiruddin Oshim, Barrister Kaisar Kamal, Barrister Rajib Rauf Chaudhry and Advocate Ghazi Kamrul Islam Shajol took part in the hearing for the BNP chief. The same court cancelled the proceedings of a sedition case filed against Tariq Rahman and Ekushe television chairperson Abdus Salam. Police filed the case against Tariq and Salam for broadcasting the BNP leader's speech from London on January the 5th, 2015. Police on September the 6th, 2017 filed a charge sheet in the case, adding names of the Ekushe television chief reporter Mahathir Farooqi Khan and senior reporter Kanak Sarwar in the case. The High Court in 2017 issued a rule after holding hearing on a plea filed for cancelling the case. The BNP has chalked out a 10-day program to celebrate the historic National Revolution and Solidarity Day on November the 7th. BNP Secretary General Mirza Fakhrul Islam Alamgir announced the program at the joint meeting of the party at its central office at Naya Paltun in the capital today. BNP's acting chairman Tariq Rahman joined the meeting virtually as chief guest. Joint Secretary General, organizing secretaries and assistant organizing secretaries of all divisions, leaders from Dhaka Metropolitan North and South units, as well as leaders of different associate organizations were present. Mirza Fakhrul Islam Alamgir said the Awami League turned Bangladesh into a country of fascism by destroying all democratic institutions in the past 15 years. The mission to restore democracy is yet to begin, despite fascist Sheikh Hasina having fled the country in the face of the mass uprising, he added. BNP Secretary General Mirza Fakhrul Islam Alamgir has urged the interim government advisers not to make statements that could confuse the public. He made the call while addressing a discussion marking the founding anniversary of Jatiyo Samajtantrik Dal (JSD) in the National Press Club today. Mirza Fakhrul said all must move forward with caution to materialize the new dreams of the people. They need to reach their goals with patience, he added. The BNP leader said no reform will be sustainable without the people's involvement or being imposed forcefully. Calling for creating the necessary environment for quick elections, Mirza Fakhrul said that the sooner the elections are held, the faster the change in the country will come. Speakers also said it is necessary to establish an elected government by making reforms as soon as possible. JSD President ASM Abdul Rabb presided over the meeting, which was also addressed by Senior Vice President of the organization, Tania Robb, Chief Coordinator of Ganashanghati Andolon, Zunayat Saki, and Nagorik Oikko President, Mahmudur Rahman Manna. Leaders of Bangladesh Hindu, Bauddha, Christian Kollan Front said Awami League used to bring so-called militancy and fundamentalism in the country for political gain. They made the remarks while speaking at a discussion at the Jatiyo Press Club in the capital today. Speakers at the meeting said that Awami League is an example of dictatorship. It has changed the history of the country and did the politics of looting. Bangladesh Hindu, Bauddha, Christian Kollan Front President Bijon Kanti Sarkar presided over the discussion, while BNP Chairperson's advisor, Advocate Nitai Roy Chaudhry, Gana Forum General Secretary, Advocate Shubhrata Chaudhry, Dhaka Union of Journalists former President, Poet Abdul Hai Shikdar, Dhaka University Professor Shukamal Burua, Bangladesh Hindu, Bauddha, Christian Kollan Front Advisor Tapon Chandra Mojumdar, Amulendu Das Opu, Vice Chairman Ramesh Dotto, Secretary General S.N. Torunde, and Hindu Mahajot General Secretary Sushant Kumar, among others, spoke. On now to international news. With less than 1 week before Election Day, Vice President Kamala Harris and former President Donald Trump hosted rival events in the swing states of Wisconsin and North Carolina, where both are fighting for undecided voters. Harris called on Americans to stop pointing fingers at each other as she attempted to move past President Joe Biden's comments in which he appeared to call Donald Trump supporters garbage. Meanwhile, Trump hopped into the passenger seat of a white garbage truck bearing his name to draw attention to Biden's comments. So far, more than 50 million Americans have already voted. The University of Florida's election lab says this includes about 29.3 million in-person votes and roughly 26 million mail-in ballots. The latest polls from The Economist, YouGov, and TIP Insights, released on Wednesday, indicate that Harris has a slight lead of just 1 percentage point, with 44% of voters supporting her compared with 43% for Trump. Of more than 5,000 registered voters in key battleground state, 57% said they were very or somewhat worried that Trump supporters might become violent if he loses. In contrast, only 31% believed that Harris's supporters would respond in a similar manner. Lebanon's Prime Minister expressed hope on Wednesday that a ceasefire deal with Israel would be announced within days as Israel's public broadcaster published what it said was a draft agreement providing for an initial 60-day truce. The document, which broadcaster Khan said was a leaked proposal written by Washington, said Israel would withdraw its forces from Lebanon within the first week of the 60-day ceasefire. It largely aligned with details reported earlier by Reuters, based on 2 sources familiar with the matter. The draft published by Khan was dated Saturday. When asked to comment, White House National Security spokesperson Sean Sabat said there are many reports and drafts circulating. They do not reflect the current state of negotiations. But Sabat did not respond to a query on whether the version published by Khan was at least the basis for further negotiations. North Korea has fired an intercontinental ballistic missile which flew for 86 minutes, the longest flight recorded yet, before falling into waters off its east, South Korea and Japan said. The intercontinental ballistic missile was fired at a sharply raised angle and reached as high as 7,000 kilometers. This means that it could have covered a further distance if it were launched horizontally. Today's launch violated UN curbs and came at a time of deteriorating relations between the two Koreas and Pyongyang's increasingly aggressive rhetoric towards Seoul. South Korea had also warned on Wednesday that the North was preparing to fire its ICBM close to the US presidential election on 5th of November. Seoul's defense ministry said the test was intended to develop weapons that fire farther and higher. North Korean leader Kim Jong-un said in a rare same-day report on state media that the launch shows our will to respond to our enemies and described it as appropriate military action. The US called Thursday's launch a flagrant violation of multiple UN Security Council resolutions. South Korea said it would impose fresh sanctions on the North in response to the launch. Pyongyang last fired an ICBM in December 2023 in defiance of long-standing and crippling UN sanctions. That missile traveled for 73 minutes and covered about 1,000 kilometers. Today's launch comes after South Korea and US accused North Korea of sending troops to Russia to support Vladimir Putin's war in Ukraine. A strong typhoon Kong-Rey made landfall on Taiwan's east coast on Thursday, the largest storm by size to hit the island in nearly 30 years, closing financial markets, causing hundreds of flights to be cancelled, and reducing rail services. The typhoon knocked out power to nearly 500,000 households, the government said. The storm hit the mountainous and sparsely populated east coast county of Taitung, according to Taiwan's Central Weather Administration, with strong winds and torrential rain affecting almost all the island. The fire department reported 1 person had died when their truck hit a fallen tree in central Taiwan. At one point, Kong-Rey slightly weakened overnight, but remained powerful as the equivalent of a Category 4 hurricane, packing gusts of more than 250 kilometers per hour, according to Tropical Storm Risk. Taiwan's weather administration put the typhoon size at the biggest to hit the island since 1996. Home Advisor Mohammad Jahangir Alam Chaudhry said that Australian government has agreed for the rehabilitation of the displaced Rohingyas of Myanmar. He informed this to newsmen after meeting with visiting Australian Home Minister Tony Brooke at the Secretariat this afternoon. The advisor mentioned that the country has already arranged rehabilitation of 2,000 Rohingyas. Mohammad Jahangir Alam Chaudhry, however, said Australian government has been requested to take more Rohingyas from Bangladesh. Besides, the Australian Home Minister has requested to take back 97 Bangladeshis who tried to enter Australia without visa. The Home Advisor, Mohammad Jahangir Alam Chaudhry, said that initiative will be taken to return back those Bangladeshis. He said matters relating to strengthening mutual relations between the two countries were also discussed. Canal and water bodies will be cleaned tomorrow, marking the National Youth Day. The cleaning drive will be observed simultaneously in 64 districts with the participation of youths. Besides, National Youth Award will be distributed at a function at Osmani Memorial Auditorium at 10 a.m. The disclosure came at a colourful rally in the capital organised on the occasion of National Youth Day 2024. Youth and Sports Advisor Asif Mahmood Shajib Bhuiya opened the rally. Youth and Sports Secretary Rizal Maksud Zahidi, officials and employees of the ministry, youth trainees, entrepreneurs and youth organisers were present among others. The rally paraded roller skating complex at Bolton, Secretariat, High Court, Shahbag intersection, Bangla Motor, Mogbazar, Motshul Bhavan, and then ended in front of the Secretariat. On now to some sports news. The SAF Women's Championship 2024 title winner Bangladesh team returned to Dhaka this afternoon. They were greeted with fanfare and a warm welcome by officials, fans and Bangladesh Football Federation BFF's leaders, who proudly celebrated the team's remarkable achievement. Youth and Sports Advisor Asif Mahmood Shajib Bhuiya met with the players at the BFF headquarters in the evening. Youth and Sports Advisor awarded 1 crore taka for the SAF Women's Champions on behalf of the Ministry of Youth and Sports. Meanwhile, the team will be accorded a special reception on Saturday, hosted by the Chief Advisor of the Interim Government, Professor Mohammed Yunus. The Interim Government will end pay disparity for women footballers. Earlier, the team landed at Hazrat Shah Jalal International Airport around 2:30 p.m., where BFF officials received the players with bouquets and heartfelt congratulations. The team embarked on a jubilant procession to the BFF headquarters, travelling by open-roof bus along the elevated expressway while proudly displaying the SAF trophy. This year's victory marked Bangladesh's second consecutive SAF Women's Championship title as they beat Nepal by 2-1 in the final in Kathmandu. To end the news, here once again are the main points. Candidates can now participate in maximum 4 and BCS exams, decides Advisory Council. Gazette notification issued regarding the formation of 6-member search committee to form election commission. The committee will recommend names of 10 individuals in 15 days. Use of polythene bags will be banned in local markets from tomorrow. Implementation of the decision will be strictly monitored. International Crimes Tribunal sends former Additional Superintendent of Police to jail over burning bodies after the murder of student protesters. BNP announces 10-day program to celebrate the historic 7th November, the day of national revolution and solidarity. Debate going on centering the US presidential election campaigning, both parties prepared to prevent violence and conspiracies at swing states. And the SAF-winning women's team returned to Dhaka, received floral welcome. Chief Advisor will accord reception to the winners on Saturday in the State Guest House, Jamuna. That's all from the newsroom for the moment. Thank you for being with us. If you can, please do join us for our 11:30 news in Bangla. Until then, Allah Hafiz.